musicologists. Welcome to Amari Music Talk. I'm Richard Cole. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're a long time listener, welcome back. All right, so today I want to talk about the upcoming Sign of the Times I don't know, what do you want to call it, remaster for film. I don't even, it wasn't restored, but you know, they're making it IMAX. They're putting it on the big IMAX screen, you know, so it's all big and detailed, and it's going to be amazing and stuff. But the question is, should you go? Or if you're wondering, should you go? All right, so for me, I'm really excited about this, really. Sign of the Times is probably one of the best concert films I have ever seen. I remember when it came out in November of 1987. I had been living in California, the Bay Area, for about 3 months. And I remember, I don't forget how many, it's about a month and a half or so, because they rushed this into theaters quick. By the time he shot this and got a distributor, because it wasn't through Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers wasn't going to finance it, so he had to quickly find a distributor for this film. So that's why kind of the rights to this film are a little bit different. Warner Brothers can't put the film out in any way, shape, or form unless some weird deal or acquisition happens. But it ended up with this distributor that was able to get it in quite a number of screens across the country. So while this wasn't like a major hit film, it did do one thing, which was take away a lot of the damage that was done by Under the Cherry Moon, which is that this gave Prince a second critically acclaimed film. You know, I remember Siskel and Ebert, both of them showed major love, gave it the 2 thumbs up back in the day, you know, and they were like, hey, I want some Prince tickets, you know. So, you know, they gave it the thumbs up. But like I said, it wasn't like a major hit. It wasn't Purple Rain level success. You know, this was something that was rushed out, little to no marketing. This was kind of like a thing to, like, supposed to pacify the United States audience, because it was like he was on tour over in Europe and was supposed to tour here, and was like, screw it, I don't feel like touring the United States, put this film out instead. But, you know, instead of, it's like we would have rather to have seen him live and in person. But like I said, this is one of the greatest concert films ever made. So here we are, 2025. This is getting the IMAX treatment. So here's the thing. IMAX was a little bit different back then. I think, let's see, back then, like, to see something in IMAX, it wasn't like you got to go see Star Wars. You didn't see Star Wars in IMAX. You didn't see Superman in IMAX. Batman wasn't in IMAX. It was like back then you went to see an IMAX film, and I'm going to tell you the one that I saw. It was at the Science Center, because they were the only one that had an IMAX screen back in those days. And what I saw was the history of the universe on IMAX. And that was a cool thing to see, actually. This, you know, you thought I was going to put it down. Nah, this was cool. I mean, you know, you get the screen, you know, and you watching like all these graphics of the galaxy and space, and, you know, how the universe is formed, how it will eventually end. And it was, you know, it was amazing to see something like that in IMAX. And then after that, you know, you would probably see something like, you know, penguins, you know, or polar bears, or something like that, or some type of wildlife. You know, you would see that on an IMAX screen. But now, here we are in the 21st century. It's 2025. And now you got Superman on IMAX. You got the Fantastic Four on IMAX. You got Jurassic whatever Part 25 on IMAX now. And like I said, but nowadays, either portions of a movie are shot in IMAX, or you have the whole movie shot in IMAX now. But for Sign of the Times, this was not originally on IMAX or shot with any type of IMAX cameras. Back in 1987, this is probably at most 35 millimeter film. And what they do is they put it through a process and then they convert it. Of course, they restore it, make it high definition, make it 4K. But in this case, they're running it through, converting it to IMAX. So it would be, definitely aspect ratio for the screen. And you probably see all kind of amazing detail and colors. And I'm sure it would be amazing. So with that being said, yes, definitely check it out. I'm on the fence about checking it out, not because I don't want to see it, but this has been my gripe, which is kind of a pattern. Recently, Purple Rain was released. I think it was one night only, I think at one point. But the downside of it for me, and I was unable to see this, was because of this. It was only playing in 2 theaters in this area. Now, here in St. Louis, we got quite a number of AMC theaters. Quite a number of these AMC theaters have an IMAX screen. Now, of course, those IMAX screens, you're going to see Superman. I like Superman. Fantastic Four, like the Fantastic Four. And those screens are going to take, because, they're making whatever money that they're making, or, it's contracted to run in theaters on this number of screens for this amount of time. So, and then once they're gone, of course, whatever the next blockbuster or major motion picture, got to get those on as many screens as you can. So my gripe with Purple Rain, as far as just here, I don't know how it was, shout out in the comments where you saw Purple Rain. When it was re-released, I guess in, whatever high def 4K. I don't know. I can't remember if that was even on IMAX too, converted for IMAX. But let me know where you saw it and if it was close, or did you have to journey to go see it. So here's the gripe. There was one, the absolute closest, which wasn't unreasonable to want to go to. The downside of it is the reviews for this one particular AMC theater. And the thing of it was that I guess during COVID, they put this plexiglass screen over, most of the, I guess, what do you call it, partitions or whatever. So you got this plexiglass screen, which, okay, fine, we'll keep people safe, that's cool. The downside of it is that the partition would cover the lower half of the screen. So the plexiglass would cover the lower half of the screen. So while you got all this nice, neat sharpness going on at this part of the screen, down here, you looking through plastic, or plexiglass. You're looking through this stuff which probably didn't get the Windex treatment consistently. And, I saw reviews of this and people had pictures and how, that sucked. I don't want to see Purple Rain with a piece of plexiglass halfway through. I've got the 4K Blu-ray, so I'm cool. The next closest is Edwardsville, Missouri. So now, if this was where, they had multiple show times or something like that, yeah, maybe I could have used a Saturday or Sunday, okay, I'll make that pilgrimage, I'll go. But one showing, one day all the way out there, and I'm passing like half a dozen AMC theaters with IMAX screens to go. No, it's not. It didn't. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. So I was kind of like, you know what? I got the 4K. I got a decent sized TV. I'm happy. Cheap sound bar, so I can listen to Dolby. So cool. That's fine. With Sign of the Times, I wouldn't have to go that far, but still kind of like, again, going to pass maybe not half a dozen, but I know I'm going to be passing 2 or 3 AMC theater. Actually, this wouldn't even be an AMC theater. The beauty of it is, I think it is listed as having more than one day that it would be showing. I'm hoping that is the case. I'm going to look further into it, but I did initially look, and it's like, okay, well, you know what? There might be a day if, providing nothing goes crazy or nothing goes wrong, nothing happens, or I'm not too busy, I might be able to check this one out. So like I said, looking forward to see how they execute this as far as the sound. How is the sound different? Looking forward to, what they did with the conversion, the IMAX conversion to it. But like I said, it's not a thing to where like, well, dang, this theater is 15 minutes away. This theater's not that far away. Or this one isn't too unreasonable to get to because it's still within, the city limits and all that stuff. But it's like having to make a pilgrimage, and I don't know. If I can convince some folks to go, I don't know. I'll see. Like I said, right now I'm on the fence, but that doesn't mean I'm not excited for it. Doesn't mean that I don't want to see it. I do, and I recommend that you all see it as well. Definitely check it out if you can. Like I said, again, shout out where you guys are. Is it playing someplace, like I said, within your city limits? Like, okay, this is the theater I go to all the time. Easy to go there. They'll have it on the one screen for just that one time or whatever, but it's not unreasonable for you to check it out. Or, you'll have the time to do it because it's within reason. Or if you have to make a pilgrimage, or will you have to skip out on this one and hope that they come out with a 4K release. I will say this, I was looking for some other things online, and I stumbled across this one website, Blu-ray.com. And I think this is only going to be released in Japan. It's like the Blu-ray I was looking for had a release, because they also have a link to Amazon and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, cool. So this one Blu-ray I was looking for is accessible. I can get it through Amazon, or I can click that link through Amazon. But when I plugged in Sign of the Times, then this came up where on January 16th, this is going to be released on 4K, but I think this is only in Japan, because the link had the Amazon to Japan. I mean, maybe it'll get a US release after this theatrical run. If that's the case, then I might just, go ahead and, skip trying to figure out the logistics and treat this like a military maneuver to try to go see this movie that I've seen probably half as many times as I've seen Purple Rain in its theatrical run, which Purple Rain I've seen about maybe 35 times before A, it left the theater, and B, before it made it to home video. So I probably seen the Sign of the Times movie in the theater half of that time. I think I still have the video cassette. I don't have a VCR anymore, but I still have the video cassette. And right now, even though I think it's going to start to become harder to get copies of this now, but there are Blu-ray versions of Sign of the Times you can get. I do own a digital copy of it that I purchased, I think, on Amazon Prime, I think it was. But I've got a digital copy, which I haven't seen that in a long time. So I might watch that just to see, like, what upgrade that they do to the film on that one. I don't. It's not 4K. I know that much for sure. But I think it might be high definition. I doubt if it's ultra high definition. I have to look at it again and see. But I do have a digital copy. But if they do come out with a 4K copy of it, yeah, I might just skip the IMAX and just get the 4K of that if it comes out. But other than that, like I said, I'm still on the fence on it. Let me know what you think. Are you planning on checking it out? Or have you seen it as many times as I have, if not more? Do you have a DVD, Blu-ray, digital copy of it? Leave me a comment and let me know your thoughts. And with that, I'm going to end this episode. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Thanks to all the new subscribers. Thanks to the ones that have been here for the longest. Got more stuff coming out soon, so check it out. So like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, become a Patreon supporter. And until then, create your day, create your life. Peace.